hour. Um, Thank you for tuning in. You take the time to tune in, and if you've tuned in before, thank you for paying mind to what I have to say. I really appreciate it. Because we're all very given to um, judging a book by its cover. And quite frankly, having grown up during the punk rock era of my generation, and considered myself a new waver back in the day. Yes, yes. And these are components of my generations that still stay with me. But I just wanted to take this time to talk about stonewalling. So, if you don't know what stonewalling is, let me introduce you to this concept. But I'll preface it to say that stonewalling is basically psychological abuse. So, an example of stonewalling is the silent treatment. So, whenever somebody, gives whoever the silent treatment, that is a form of stonewalling. And then, depending on how exploited the tool is used, it's a form of abuse. It is abuse. It's psychological abuse, and to an extent, psychological violence. But with this gang stalking, the whole premise is psychological violence, and I've been enduring this onslaught solid for 3 years. I mean, look at me, right? I still have my identity intact of what I perceive myself to be, and I'm unapologetic about how I choose to dress, because I would much rather celebrate my life and how I choose to embrace it exactly where I'm at. So if others don't really approve of it, what they think was really never any of my fucking business. So everything that people did to me, I gave it to God. Because, you know what? I'd be like, I can see what you're doing is wrong. What am I going to do? Chase down everybody and set the story straight? Hell no. I have living to do. It's none of my business, and it's out of my hands. So I let it go, gave it to God, and then found it in my heart to actually forgive everybody in my entire life. But in the middle of being horrifically tormented on the daily with this Nazi terrorism, I had it in my mind that if I can just get away from it for a while, go to someplace else, work a job until they run me off there, at least I can save up some money between getting run off from job to job. And then so when I realized that I was being blacklisted, that kind of blew my plan out of the water. Because that's when I realized that the terrorism is pretty well invested to snuffing me out. And then on the daily, I mean, I put myself together because, you have to have a sense of semblance, normalcy for whatever you consider normal. But just because I have myself together doesn't mean I'm not suffering. It's kind of like having to endure strings of violent attacks on the daily, and then people look at you and there's no bruises, there's no cuts, there's no outward objective evidence to support you've been horrifically abused. But, I've dealt with abuse and betrayals in weird ways that other people hadn't. But, for instance, whenever I was a kid, I found out that my dad had bamboozled my mom and tricked her into naming me after one of his sweethearts that he was seeing on the side. So I basically found out at such an early age I was named after my father's mistress, which I'm at terms with nowadays, but did a lot because cheating was the last thing I'd ever want to do, and I praise God that that was hardwired into me, because I could see that if that was hardwired into you the other way, how difficult it would be to live a straight life. But that's the beauty of this satanic circuit, is that they abuse everybody horrifically, and there's no marks for it. But I challenge everybody to get a copy of the non-investigative watch list from the fusion centers, and this fucking covert world war we've been in for past 25 or 30 years, is to see if you have any relatives on that list, and then if you have any relatives that died under weird conditions, be like, well, we thought they were a little touched because they were saying people were following them. Bitch, people were following them, hun. And if you wrote off a death thinking it was suicide, bitch, I don't think so. But, whether or not I think, it doesn't matter, because you can get a copy of the non-investigative watch list and then initiate your own research to see if there's a paper trail for life insurance policies. So if you had anybody who died under mysterious conditions and they're like, hey, that right there is a case of suicide, man. Suicide. We don't need to look into it or anything. That happened to my baby sister. My baby sister was 19 when she was found with a rope around her neck. She was on her knees with the rope tied to a beam. And then, it was a rough time. It was a rough time in my family's life. Long end of the story. I truly believe she was sacrificed. Now. But the question becomes, to be able to go back 25 or 30 years to your family genealogy, if anybody had, bit the big sleep, had to push up them daisies, and it was like, oh my God, we weren't expecting that. I'd research to see if there are any contenders that got sudden payouts with life insurance policies. So I don't know what the legislation is, but that's something that's got to be made public on the regular. I don't know how people are able to secure life insurance policies without the person knowing. That can't be legit. And if it is, that's got to come to a grinding halt. So that's a no-brainer. But that's not really the point of my video. But, since I was on topic, I'm like, let's just make sure we cover that. So, because I'd be on Reddit, and then there'd be some relatives looking for authentic answers, a lot with, interspersed shills and such. But that would be the biggest thing I would suggest to anybody trying to get a handle on what's going on with this gang stalking, because I hear it's kind of, whacking the head. No, honey. That was the major gaslighting throughout the world. And that was just a sleight of hand, because as we know, the real issue had been, the trifecta with the sacrifice, and then the life insurance and the dissecting. There we go. But the other thing about it is, in relation to my disposition, is the fucking stonewalling. Because what I've been able to deduct has been from the ethers. So with regards to the ethers, I don't know if you guys are familiar with it, but I never really paid no mind to magic because I thought it was a farce. But I have some objective data that was shown to me about a year ago, and I couldn't translate it. It was me scrying my pictures. I think I can probably access that and upload it. But suffice enough to say, I saw the black magic in a picture. But I didn't know it was black magic until I met the coven. Well, until the coven, played me. And then my mother-in-law, with her, fanatical control of my pussy, tried to send me somebody who had been infected with ungodly things. But, nice blood type was able to deflect it. But, just so many setups. So... But everything that I've gleaned basically I was able to pull in from different tarot readers on YouTube. So first off, I never believed in black magic, white magic, any kind of magic, function magic, happy magic, whatever. I didn't believe in it until my run-in with trying to figure out who Charlie was and all of that. But I will share the picture that catalyzed my belief system that this black magic shit is fucking real. Oh my God, changed me forever. And then so once I figured that out for myself, I was able to plug into the different conduits on YouTube with the tarot readers, because it just really just tripped my world. Like, fuck with your head in a really good way that'll benefit you rather than take from you. When I saw my timelines in there, I was like, okay, so there might be a thing with the ethers. So I take the pieces and I plug and play with them, and rely on my intuition for it to, pan out and such. So everybody knows who I've been in contact with, who I haven't been in contact with. My electronics is hacked 9 ways from Sunday, so everybody knows I'm not in contact with anybody, except I called my buddy Carlos today, because before I left Houston, he paid me a visit and told me about his adventures. And I was so inspired. I was like, okay. Kind of showed me what the roadmap looked. So whenever I took a stab and my leap of faith towards getting out of Houston, he set the template for me. And, he's my Ohana, one of my family. So I called him today and I had a really nice time, but outside of that, I my child, I don't talk to anybody. I say that again. I do not talk to anybody. And people, unless you're a gang stalking government grubber, you have no idea the breadth and how overly saturated this cesspool is integrated and interlaced throughout of our entire community. So whenever a cop wants to play, I'll be like, "Sir, tell me, are you willing to admit the presence of gang stalking?" The last one was like, "Well, it happens." I'm all like, "Okay, that right there, you lost my respect." But I give you credit because you kind of, played the, I'm willing to admit it. But what I really wanted to say was, "Are you kidding me?" Be like, "I see what you see, honey." So when they play that with me, I'm like, okay, you're really just wanting to protect the cesspool. No big deal. We'll just keep it there. But meanwhile, you don't get any more popular than being a targeted individual in your own community, let alone state, let alone whatever. And I can see everybody knows me. That's, part of the fuck shit clown college that was there to gaslight and railroad you for the government grubbing. No big deal. But all of this wears on your soul. I'm going to say that again. It wears on your soul. So, the fact that nobody's come to tell Truman shit, I'm like, okay, first off, the ethers, my information is from the ethers. So I happen to know there's like, Truman Show out there that my ex, that Tim plugs into. I'm all like, really? I got away from this man. Made my big break and my run for it. I'm like, okay, I got tired of the narcissist cycle, so I'm like, I found the perfect way to dabble a little bit of vengeance and make him hate me. I was like, boom, I did it. This man will never want to talk to me ever motherfucking again. And then when I leave, I won't have dumb fuck syndrome where I'm like, so, I miss you. How you doing? Let's go hang out again. And then there we go. Fucking cycle all over again. I'm like, I'm tired of the cycle because every time I get sucked in, that takes away from me evolving as a person. I get stagnant like that. I'm like, you know what? I got skill sets. I got things I want to do. I got, shows to create. I've got muscle memory to study and whatever list goes on. So, as it turned out, well, just because I cut ties with him, apparently every time I went to use the bathroom, he was right there. Every time I went to deal with my alopecia and deal with my, my temperamental artistry components, he was right there. Not to mention everybody else. So first off, when we meet, and I know you've been up on my Truman Show, you really should know, I don't hate any of you guys. I really don't. I'm a little freaky too, like a little demented, if you will, in the most delicious and wonderfulest of ways. Kind of think it's hot. I know my positions of compromise. My positions of compromise. But guess what? I'm a medical professional. I don't get embarrassed about shit. And in fact, the fact that I've had to deal with my alopecia disposition in the middle of this fuck shit, you guys who are worth discernment should really have a clue the strength that takes. Because I've been stressed out on the regular as a child ever since, I found out I was named after my dad's mistress. It fucked me up real good there. Boy, in ways that were great, in ways not so good. So suffice enough to say, being nervous, that's my baseline. And whenever my environment is out of control, it comes out with my alopecia and everything you ever heard about it. But the thing about it is, I'm very proud because I can handle that like a bitch, boss bitch, and still have control over my own mental faculties in the middle of Sodom and Gomorrah when it's all like thundering down fucking lava. For reals. So, what's that to be embarrassed about? Because with or without, I'm fucking rocking. This is how I choose to show up in the world. So of course it's a part of me. Hello? It's called existentialism. And, well, that's all cool and everything, but the wrap-up is that, with all of this stonewalling, and everybody knows, like, if there's FBI, if there's feds, if there's DEA, honeys, I have no idea. For real, like 3D. But the ethers say, yeah, baby, they're there. And then I'm all like this. Okay. Then my next question becomes, what is your subjective objective protocol for gang stalking? Oh, you don't have one. That's fine. Most people don't. But then, when I pull that into focus, then it's my kind way of saying, well, if you don't have the protocol, then you have the carte blanche to deploy what you think is the human plan of action. You know, because I've been telling everybody this for a while. I'm a highly, heavily targeted individual. And, you know, these government factions, they let the onslaught of these psycho fucking Nazi terrorisms that are government grubbing have complete access to me. It's kind of like they're waiting for a snuff film, because logistically, I very much feel that way. Because it's kind of like, oh, we got a heavily targeted individual over here in the neighborhood, stand by, but we need to know that we don't care about her being exposed to possible drive-by shootings, because we don't think they're fucking real. We think it was just the cacophony of the imagination of the mind, so of course she's okay sitting in her fucking targeted motherfucking truck like a goddamn sitting duck. None of these people will just snap and pop a fucking cap of lead to her head. So I'm like, okay, well, all you guys fucking failed. You fucking, I'm gonna say that, y'all fucking failed. You kept your fucking target in like fucking harm's way. The correct action would have been scoop her up, go take her to the safety and sanctuary that is provided to international refugees brought into America. And if you say that your agency just doesn't do it well, guess what, baby? Today was your day to be a hero and be innovative about it. Get the goddamn company card and just put fucking human life over bureaucracies like that. And then deal with it. Especially if there's no predetermined motherfucking subjective-objective protocol. It tells you right there, your agency was just blowing smoke to begin with, and they needed to not be bitch slapped. They needed to get right on track with it. And if that hasn't happened, well, what's today? Today's July 16th. It's been how many days since July 4th? Because July 4th right now is nothing more than circle jerk day for the psychotic Nazi parade. Because, you know, liberties, what's that? As evidenced by, woo, me, Little Flower, being heavily targeted. Nobody's done a goddamn thing to help restore my life. I have to sit here and, like, you know, masturbate myself into complacency with daydreams of, I remember my liberties. When I could just go fucking McDonald's and nobody acts like they know me. I'm like, it's just a different kind of, it's a different way to be a celebrity without all of the fun part of it. I'm like, okay, if y'all going to treat me like a celebrity, but you're like, oh, I think you know something about me, it wouldn't be so bad if it wasn't a fucking lynch mob. But that's the kind of celebrity status they put me in. But what hurts the most is the stonewalling. You know, with all of the atrocities that I know, what I've gleaned from the ethers, it's like nobody wants to be the one to pull the plug and do the ethical thing and let Truman know what the fuck Truman's been going through. It's like I could see everybody participating on the fuck shit end of the stick with dishing it to Truman. I even asked one lady at the drum circle, because I'm really good at doing hard reads on my neighborhood and in my environment. Because you remember, I'm a 25-year forward observer trained targeted individual. So my way of doing the assessment was, I asked a lady, I said, if you could, would you tell Truman they're Truman? And then her response, her micro leak said everything. It was, yes, I know. No, I'm not going to say anything. So, but that's pretty much what it's like to be the targeted individual. It's a major smear campaign. And it wears down your soul, people. And then, why would anybody just observe all of this torment that I had to suffer with, and then go home to their vacations, their beds, and then come back and look at Truman in the goddamn fishbowl? I know y'all can hear me, but then even when you hear me cry, nobody come tell Truman nothing. That's abuse, people. That's psychological torment. You know, y'all know about the Truman business. How come nobody come tell Truman nothing? I'm tired of running. I'm not going to run anymore. And I'm sure it's such an inconvenience that I just want to die already. Because it'd be so much easier for all of the corrupt officials. You know, and I wasn't even wanting to make a witch hunt out of it. I mean, doesn't that say something? There's so many people who complain in the world. But there are few who really offer viable solutions. I'm being horrifically tormented. But I'd be willing to put my ego aside. Push for amnesty period. Just to get the abolishment done. You know, because the smart thing would be just to fix it already. And then hold the ones accountable who want to, you know, cling to the cesspool. But, you know, whatever, people. I did my part. I speak up and I speak out about it. And whenever I graduated into being an indigent, you'll have to know something. I went into that as a rich woman. My last year working as a paramedic full-time, it was the best year I ever did. My whole life was $80,000. That's pretty good for a little lady like me. And I didn't exit the industry based on negligence or any marks. When I chose not to renew my license, I knew that was the best way to make it difficult for somebody to bear false witness on me. But the biggest reason was so I could speak up and speak out about it, which I'll do in a couple of videos from now. But I just really wanted just to get this stuff off my chest because I'm grieving. I'm hurt. I'm hurt. Betrayed by my own country. I served during COVID, people. I was one of the few pushing for the proper personal protective equipment with your body substance isolation. It was like everything went rogue in the Wild West, you know? So I did my best to educate kindly, without insulting, and would just head on into the rooms of the people who had the COVID when you had others who signed up to Care for Life. But as soon as they found out the patient tested positive for COVID, they're like, I'm all like, okay, fine. That's okay. You work it through. Just get out of the way so the others can take care of it. Which is where I'm at with everybody. With whoever's like, you know, my non-existent third party in Vietnam. With my legal and illegal surveillances and stuff. Nobody come tell Truman shit. That is stonewalling. I had to grieve you people. And it's cool. I'm alright with it. But unless your agency has had standing protocol for subjective objective protocol for gang stalking, if there isn't one in place, well then take the carte blanche and make the executive decision. and stand by what should be done to preserve human life, because all you guys have done is just witness my suffering and witness my torment. And to know you guys listen to me cry inside my fucking truck and still not come tell Truman, it's so insulting. But then you know what? I also realized, and I'm glad I worked through my anger on it, that even though it's very warranted for me to be angry, upset, hurt, mad, and everything, I know who would want to come approach me if I were to maintain my very valid responses. Because about 15 years ago, the other targeted individuals probably put two words together and then thrown into mental health care facilities when there was truly no need for it. And then you have those medical professionals lie on them because they're gang stalkers. That's the world that we have, everybody. That's why I felt it a very pressing need just to leave my profession altogether, do something. I realized not everybody was in the position to, so I was happy to do it. Come to find out, most people don't even want to know. It's okay. But if anybody can like, subscribe, and share and pass my story around, maybe a philanthropist will come over here and help me out. Come rescue Truman. Because I'm at peace with being blacklisted. But I'm not taking on any fucking job until I can get a guarantee that gang stalking is abolished, at least for me. But it would be very selfish of me to just let it stop there with me, because I'm in it for the long haul. But at this point, I'm probably the most heavily targeted individual out throughout the fucking state of Washington, if not America. And I say that from experience, because I've never been railroaded this hard consistently in all of my 25 years. It's kind of taken a bit back these past few days, which has been nice. But I can't depend on that. You guys have your shills everywhere. There's always somebody that'll sell out to compromise for a little something and believe all of the smear campaign so Little Flower doesn't have anybody. Because as it is, these people, they know I have nobody. I have nobody in Washington. And as far as family goes, back in Houston, they have forsaken me. And then did their smear shit campaign. Really drove in the nail so the whole world would turn its back on me. Meanwhile, nobody still wants to come tell Truman anything. I mean, is there a penalty for you guys to come tell Truman? Or did you all take a payout to not tell Truman? Because where I stand, it looks like a lot of fuck shit. That's just logistics. Because I'm the kind of person that believes in the people over the objective data, which is why I was able to be duped when I've been duped. Because I don't jump at the shadows, even though I should make the patterns speak for themselves as the golden rule of standard, instead of let my hope that I could be wrong. But it's July 16th. I've been asking my third party, non-existent shadow Vietnam in my truck, which is the conglomeration of all the different people fucking me, with surveilling me, not telling me anything. I keep asking. I asked for today, Maybe today will be the day somebody emerges from the shadows and come introduce yourself to Truman. It's so inhumane. So, but, you know what? Unless you know the dynamic of what's going on, maybe you really don't know what's going on. Which is where teaching comes in helpful. But not to keep me in isolation of the truth. Nobody want to come tell Truman anything. Nobody want to come introduce themselves to Truman. That's called stonewalling. It's called the silent treatment. And that's psychological abuse. You all have already usurped all of my liberties from me. I'm blacklisted from employment. And then there's all of this fuck shit psychotic Nazi terrorism. I mean, 911, with the restructure of the infrastructure, it was supposed to keep terrorism from happening. What it did was enable the terrorism. I get accused of things I never do. And then still nobody wants to tell Truman anything. How is that healthy for me to endure? 'Cause I'm going to tell you guys something. Most any other person would have snapped like 6 hours into it. The fact that I'm handling it pretty well, I feel like they're just parasiting and exploiting. Like, okay, it's not really psychological abuse because we can't see anything. There's not any marks. So, yeah, she's okay. She's okay. Meanwhile, I'm in hell, people. I know how to conduct myself when I'm going through the wilderness. And I know how to look to my face that I'll make it through the fire without the scent of smoke on my clothes. But just because I can do that never gives anybody the right to witness my suffering. Just to stand by and listen to me cry. And still nobody come in to say, Truman, come on home, honey. I have no home. I have my genie's pod. And I always do my best to make the glass half full. But at the end of the day, I don't have a home. I had all of that. Come to find out, these fucktards have been really fucking with me before I had cognizance of it. Right down to fucking with the pipes of the place I was renting. Turns out that wasn't even me. I'll talk about that another time. But July 16, 2023, was somebody going to come talk to Truman today? Anybody? You know, you don't even have to take me off the street. You don't even have to take me home or reshelter me like a puppy. Somebody come end the violence, please. Stop isolating the truth from me, please. This has gone on long enough, people. I mean, isn't this what the program demands? It's to jump on the last nerve of their target to make them kill themselves? Just because I'm strong, and I am not going to do it, I'm not even the land of ideation on any portion. They do that to children on the regular, honeys. They do that to people on the regular. And I cannot stress enough that the cesspool covers the child molestation. And still nobody comes to tell Truman anything. I put it, I don't know what APB stands for, but I put it out in the universe. Please come talk to Truman already. I can't get mad enough where somebody would care that's in a position of authority that knows my case. The ethers say there's been a private eye investigating me for 18 months. I was hoping he would come forward and introduce himself today. I wouldn't even be mad at anybody. I know this is a scary situation, and I can be very scary when when I feel like I've been violated. I recognize that. And I also recognize that if I maintain that position, no one would want to come talk to me at all. So, here I am just importuning for the madness to stop and come talk to Truman already. But, to get through all of the cacophony, I've learned to use the 5 stages of grief. I've had to grieve the ethical of mind. I was very mad and upset with them. Because of all the people, I figured they're the ones who should know better. And then, when I realized they weren't going to help me, I had to move on and realize that my number one plan, which has been the whole time, has been God, Abba. I'm just tired of running. I can't do it anymore, guys. I'm tired. I'm tired. All I do is just spin my tires, go from one place to another, try not to disturb the peace. Meanwhile, my resources are acutely limited, and I really appreciate the donations I've had from my friends because I felt safe breaking down because I can go inside and actually rent my table by being an actual patron. Plus, having hot meals this past week has been nothing short of an amazing feast. And I've always appreciated all of my canned goods and even having the capacity just to have a can opener to open my canned goods. But why on earth would anybody not come tell Truman anything? That's inhumane, people. But once I figure out a template, I'm like, okay, none of the ethical minds are coming to do anything or coming to get me. Alrighty, no big deal. At least I know to stop holding out for false hope, because that becomes false hope. But, if the ethers is correct and there is a private eye out there, if you don't come forward between now and sunset, I'll respect it. But that's it for me. It hurts. Everybody just drinks Truman like a fucking worm on a aggressive fish hook. Not even care about Truman. But, yeah. Everybody gets the purulent pestilence to settle into your table. Because that's the karma you all signed up for, honeys. I mean, nobody come tell Truman nothing. And I'm still being a little fish in a goddamn fishbowl. Meanwhile, I watch all your cacophony. The never-ending mill of your child molesting organization. They still run their fuck shit on me in the goddamn fucking McDonald's. You expose me to psychological violence on the regular. So, yeah, I'm a prisoner, honeys. I'm a prisoner in this Auschwitz 2.0. It doesn't get any more grittier than that. I can't do a damn thing about it, except just make my videos and hope somebody has a heart for me. Come talk to Truman. I won't get mad. I've worked through it. If I was going to get mad, who would ever want to come talk to me? Please? Mr. P.I. I respect you if you don't want to. Come introduce yourself. But, I have to believe people when they show me who they are. If you don't like me enough or respect me enough to come alleviate my suffering and tell me, impart to me what's been going on behind my back, how do you know I'm not gonna just the last straw that broke the camel's back? That's if you would care, or anybody would care. Come talk to me. But if you don't, I won't hassle you no more. Just stay in the shadows then. I need a friend that knows my case, that's been up my ass in the goddamn fucking non-existent third-party table that I have in my truck that listen in on me. Anyhow, thank you guys for listening. My whole point of the video was to talk about the stonewalling, and I'm being stonewalled on top of everything. I posted the video so somebody out there would have some compassion and come introduce themselves to me by the end of sunset tonight. Because if nobody comes to show Truman some love, I'll just know to stop looking for it is all. And I'll just go on with my life, you know? That's how I work through my pain. Not gonna sit around and keep hoping for nothing. Anyways, nobody wants to come get Truman. It's okay. My Abba will take care of me. But you should know, by default, you sign up for the pestilence, the purulent pestilence. Because playing with people's lives, that's purulent pestilence. A lot of people have died like this. I'm not just speaking for myself. I'm speaking for everybody that went before me, that stand beside me, and that will seppuku after me. Because nobody else cares to listen. Not even now, but at least it was said. Meanwhile, please like, subscribe, and share. So hopefully a philanthropist out there might be able to help me with the leg up. Or will help me get some answers because nobody wants to come tell Truman anything. Alright, thank you guys for listening. I appreciate and love everybody. Thank you.